People everywhere are starting to listen to him. He's going on French, British, Italian, Japanese television.
This is the Wide World of Weingarten.
Wide World of Weingarten, Tuesday, June 14th. It's about 10 a.m. here in Los Angeles. The Celtics lost last night. I slept through the first half of the game, so they were down like 12 at halftime. Was not particularly optimistic about winning at that point. It's unfortunate I had the money line. I have +4. I have a bunch of series bets, different prices. It's a lot. Not going to be a huge blow up or anything, but I don't want to lose it. And like I said, I was taking a nap. Slept through the Phillies Marlins game last night. Woke up at halftime of the Celtics the finals game, NBA Finals, and the third quarter was a good quarter for the bookmakers. I think I saw like 99% of the money was on the Warriors third quarter, and they totally shit the bed there. And the Celtics, they had a really good chance to just take over the game and seize the game there at the end of the third quarter. And Jordan Poole gets that uncontested 3 off to end the third, and then they just rolled over in the fourth, and here we are, elimination game 6. Hopefully the Celtics could at least string it out to 7 and see if, usually game 7s are a lot of fun to watch, even if you're going to lose a lot of money on it. So, we're at the point where with the NBA and the Stanley Cup, get, potential 7 more hockey games, it really gets into that summer doldrums where it's just baseball. So, it's always prefer more finals game, more playoff games than less, because when it's gone, it's a long summer of baseball. But speaking of baseball, it's what you're here for. It's what I'm here for. I added a bit more on one of my Rookie of the Year bets this week. Michael Harris, NL Rookie of the Year. I bet him at 85-1. I requested some books open him. I got an 85-1. Bet it. It's dropped 85, 50, 40. Still seeing 40s and 30s out there. I bet him at 45-1 again today. If you haven't opened a position, you could still get 30-1 to 40-1. I think it's a pretty good bet. I talk about the Westgate Superbook a lot on this show because I think they do one of the better jobs with baseball player futures. They have reasonable limits, and most of the important names are always up, and they're updated practically daily. So I tend to use their numbers to gauge the market the way I use Circa to gauge NFL future markets, NFL player future markets specifically. But in this case, the reason I'm highlighting the Harris numbers, 40-1 available at Camby, 30-1 BetMGM, 30-1 at FanDuel. Right now, I don't see a number at DraftKings, unfortunately. But the reason I'm pointing those numbers out is because the Superbook, which is a much sharper book and much better at making numbers, has him at 9-1, and he was actually lower last night at 8-1 when I was going through the numbers the last time. And the reason for that change is that O'Neal Cruz has dropped overnight from 25-1 to 10-1. So I guess the Superbook probably believes the rumors that I'm hearing that O'Neal Cruz is finally going to be called up this weekend. I've heard this rumor in the past, and it's proven to be wrong. So, don't hold me to it. But the Super 2 deadline should officially be over in the next couple days, and that should put Cruz in the lineup at home for the Pirates versus the Giants this weekend. And he immediately will enter the Rookie of the Year race as soon as he's getting everyday at bats and people are seeing his average exit velocities, and hopefully he hits a couple home runs, but he'll have a shot to definitely shoot up the board. Like I said, Michael Harris available 40-1 at the Camby books. While you're at the Camby books hitting that 40-1 and Michael Harris, take some 32-1 on O'Neal Cruz. Those are the best numbers I see also at Camby. 25-1, second best at Betfred. Have very little experience with them, but so far it's been all right. Can't complain too much. Michael Harris, though, he was called up straight from AA Mississippi Braves, straight to the Atlanta Braves. He hit his first home run last night. He's been playing elite center field defense. His UZR rating for outfield defense I think it's something like he'd be the second best center fielder in baseball if qualified. He's currently the youngest player in baseball this year, and he doesn't put up the power numbers. Like I said, his first home run came yesterday. I've also mentioned before that power is typically the last thing that comes in a lot of these elite players, especially at a young age, like Wander Franco, for example. The power is just not there yet, but it's coming. You could see it. You know that he's still developing. Harris is similar. It's, one home run isn't a lot, but elite defense, 152 WRC plus. Since being called up in the highest F WAR of any rookie position player in June, F WAR, Fangraph WAR, that's the good WAR, the WAR you want to be ahead of. B WAR, Baseball Reference WAR, only matters to me if it furthers one of my arguments. If it doesn't, if I don't agree with it, then I throw it out and it's not relevant. So F WAR is the only one that really matters to me, and even then, I don't really care about F WAR. It's not the be all end all, but I do. When it fits my narrative, I like it. Braves, don't sleep on the Braves. I think they could still win the NL East. They've cut the Mets lead to something like 5.5 games. No, sorry, 7.5 games from 11.5 games. Still plenty of time to close that gap further. Mike Soroka will join the rotation in the second half of the season. Eddie Rosario's coming back. Ozzie Albies will be back from his fractured foot at some point, although I mentioned Eddie Rosario. I don't know if there's a place for him to play with Harris and Duvall and Ozuna all getting regular at-bats. Lot going on. The Mets and Dodgers were both locks to win the division, as recently as 10, 15 days ago. Now both very vulnerable. Definitely could see the Padres and the Braves putting up a fight. Going through the player markets real quick just to get some bearings where we're at. Paul Goldschmidt, favorite in the NL. If the awards were being voted on today, it would not surprise me if Goldschmidt or Pete Alonso won over Mookie Betts or Manny Machado. My portfolio is Betts at like 20, 25 to 1. Machado, same thing, 20, 25, 30 to 1. Bryce Harper, 25 to 1. And recently added Acuna at 30 to 1. So I'm going against those first basemen, Goldschmidt and Alonso. Unsurprisingly, both are definitely potential to win right now. In the AL, obviously, Aaron Judge has been the best player in baseball this season. Can't argue with that. 25 home runs, 24 home runs speak for themselves. Ohtani, second favorite, 3 to 1. Trout, 5 to 1. I actually disagree with that. I would probably drift Trout's number out to 9 to 1 or 10 to 1 and write some bets on that. You need the Angels to make the playoffs for Trout or Ohtani most likely to win an MVP, and you would need, if the Angels do make the playoffs, it's probably because Ohtani is carrying them and pitching once a week. So that Trout number, I'd definitely want to write more money on Trout if I was booking this. Jose Ramirez, 8 to 1. I would flip Ramirez and Trout. Jose Ramirez is looking like an unfortunate any other year candidate, meaning that any other year he would probably be the AL favorite at the moment over Aaron Judge, but he's not because Aaron Judge is doing ridiculous things. So Ramirez kind of gets stuck behind Trout, and unfortunately, if the Guardians are not a playoff team, can't see him getting serious consideration. That 8 to 1 is probably about fair. Maybe drop it a little bit. I wouldn't be opposed to dropping it 6 to 1 or even 5 to 1. If I was booking it, he'd be the third favorite. Trout would be fourth. Then you got the Rafael Devers, Yordan Alvarez sort of tier next. There's some argument that Yordan Alvarez is actually the best hitter in baseball right now, and I wouldn't argue with you that much. He says he's playing a lot more relaxed since he signed that huge extension, 125 million or whatever, 115 million. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but I mean, yeah, I guess I would too if I signed a contract like that. Don't count Yordan out. I know the Astros have recently lost 6 of their last 9, but if they do end up with the best record in the AL and Yordan Alvarez is the best player on the best team, He should get some consideration. I think he's probably lost most of his value at 10-1. I hit it at 60. Pat myself on the back there a little bit. Jordan's my boy. See if he can get into the race. Then the next three, it's Vlad Jr. 50-1. Honestly, at 50-1, I don't hate it. It's Vlad Jr. Last year, he was way less than 50-1. He's still playing pretty well. Might have to do some sort of year-over-year comparison, see where he's at. But that 50-1 stands out to me. And then Byron Buxton 100-1. Yeah, I don't think he's going to have enough games. I think the under 100 WRC plus in May hurts him a lot, but he's a very good player. Then we got the NL and AL Cy Young. NL is Joe Musgrove, Alcantara. The front runner is Corbin Burns right behind him. Zach Wheeler has jumped up to fourth at 7-1. I mentioned him. He was about 20-1 in recent weeks. I said his trailing 30-day numbers are as good as anybody, and it looks like they've finally sort of acknowledged that, and his price has dropped. Max Fried up there 12-1. Tony Gonsolin pitching tonight at 14-1. Interesting. And then Pablo Lopez, who was early season darling, has drifted back up to 18-1. I have him at 50. Don't think he's going to win. Really hard when your teammate Sandy Alcantara leading the NL currently in everything. Then you got the AL, Justin Verlander, Shane McClanahan, 3-1 co-favorites, deserving. Nestor Cortez has jumped Garrett Cole 6-1, 9-1 respectively. Then Alek Manoah 10-1, Kevin Gausman 12-1. Both of those guys deserve serious consideration. It's such a close race though with the AL. I mean, Verlander, McClanahan, Cortez, Cole, Manoah, Gausman, Shane Bieber, still elite. I think Logan Gilbert's probably a little outside looking in. Tariq Skubal probably outside looking in. Martin Perez had a bad start, probably going to cost him. And then Shohei Ohtani's at 30-1, kind of trailing some of the other guys. Still has a chance though, a good chance, especially with the K-9 he puts up. But it's a very crowded field in the AL, so I wouldn't draw too many conclusions there yet. That race going to sort of shake itself out in the next couple months. AL Rookie of the Year, Julio Rodriguez, Jeremy Pena still facing off. The gap is not very much depending on your preference. I still think Julio Rodriguez has this in the bag. Bobby Witt is the main guy who could upend both of them. Down to 9-2 at Westgate. Think that's a reasonable price. I was hoping if he got up 10-1 or 11-1, I'd probably bet him a little bit just for some protection. Then in the NL, Mackenzie Gore 2-1 right now, coming off a 6 earned run outing, really needs to clamp down and have a good game this next time out, or he risks drifting way farther out. Nolan Gorman 7-2. Seiya Suzuki, it only took until second week, halfway through June. You can get almost double the price. He was like 3-1, 4-1, one of the favorites to open the year. I was even getting questions from people asking me if even money, if they should bet him, if that's a good bet. And I was like, that's stupid. Now you can get 7-1, so almost double his opening price now. Michael Harris 9-1, O'Neal Cruz 10-1, dropped from 25-1 overnight, so I'm expecting probably getting called up. You got Alec Thomas and Spencer Strider, both guys I haven't bet, at 14 and 16. Not bad. Then you got Christopher Morrell. I bet him at 50-1. He's 25-1. And Bryson Stott, I finally did cave in and bet a little bit of him around 100-1. He's down to 30-1 at Westgate. So I'm fading Mackenzie Gore and Seiya Suzuki. I guess if we're doing the voting today thing, Mackenzie Gore probably wins. Pena, I think, is getting second place. Julio Rodriguez gets more first place votes than him, as this is a voting award. But the good thing is the awards are voted on at the end of the season and not on June 14th. So a lot of time left to come in and win some of these positions. Aaron Judge, though, is definitely the turd in the punch bowl here. He's messing a lot of things up right now, but that's baseball, Good for him, and I hope he gets Hope he gets $300 million this offseason, $500 million from somebody. So stay tuned. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to go through a bunch of bets I made today. I don't usually have this many bets this time of day when I'm recording, but somehow I have like 10 different bets. So stay tuned. You could see what props and what sides and totals I've bet today. So I'll be back in a minute. Wide World of Weingarten, second half of the show. I have a bunch of bets today that I've made or in the process of making. I'll tell you all about them. So no further ado. Got a bunch of prop bets. I bet the Marlins Phillies yes score minus 115. I bet the Orioles Blue Jays yes score minus 140. I don't know. I laid a big price there. I don't usually do that. I have not laid the price on the A's Red Sox yet. I'm still shopping for a number. I think I can get minus 125, 130 max there. Would pass around 140, but A's Red Sox yes is on my shopping list for later today. The Guardians Rockies yes score, that's a Coors yes score. Looking for 140 there. If you have a short number, minus 140 is what I'm looking for. See 148 I think right now at Bookmaker. I'm not playing that, but keep my eye on this game. I think it's a pretty good bet even if you're laying a big price today. And then Mariners Twins yes score plus 108. That's a night game. I think this number creeps up. I played 108. I'll play it again if it gets past 115. Hopefully it just keeps going. But fortunately with some of these later games you have more time to gauge the market. The Padres Cubs hits runs errors over 29.5. I laid minus 119 on that. Still good at 30. It's a hits runs errors over. Just I do hits runs errors occasionally. I don't talk about them as much as the other props, but 29.5, 30. It's good on Padres Cubs. Then sides and totals. I bet the Brewers money line plus 132. I laid minus 112 on the Mariners tonight. Joe Ryan, Twins first start coming back from COVID. Julio Rodriguez should be back in the Mariners lineup after a day off yesterday. Then the Reds plus 107. Think plus money right there is a decent price on two fairly evenly matched teams that are both not really competing this year for a playoff spot. Cubs over 10.5 minus 120 is a good alternative to the Cubs hits runs errors over 29.5 or 30. Wouldn't necessarily play both unless you really just want a lot on the Cubs over, but if you can't find the hits runs errors over, or if you can't find it at the same number I played it, 10.5 minus 120 is still reasonable. I think that game's probably going to 11 if it hasn't already. Then the Coors game, the Rockies Guardians, I laid minus 1.5 on the run line. With the Guardians, that's good up to minus 110. A lot of times if I'm playing a road team at Coors, I'm probably going to lay minus 1.5 if they're a big favorite. And that happens to be today, one of those. I also bet over 10.5 minus 115. It's Coors, so hopefully these fly over. The Dodgers under 9 minus 120. Wouldn't really be surprised if that game really is widely at 8.5 this afternoon or later today. I'd probably pass at 8.5. I do like the Dodgers F5, the first 5 inning line at under 4.5 plus 105. So if you can't get the 9 at minus 120, the F5 under 4.5 plus 105 is reasonable as well. So it's pretty big card for me today. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 5 first innings, a hit run error, 3 sides and a run line, 3 totals and a F5 under. So it's a decent amount of baseball. What is it today? Tuesday? Yeah, it's a decent Tuesday, I guess. And then the U.S. Open, I mentioned I bet Dustin Johnson at 40-1. Haven't added anything yet. Hopefully going to get into golf later tonight, and we'll have some more golf to talk about tomorrow. But that's today's show. Michael Harris, Rookie of the Year. O'Neal Cruz, Rookie of the Year. Both available at best numbers it can be. Dustin Johnson, 40-1. Yeah, a lot of baseball. Let's get some wins today. Thanks for listening.